Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays69. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today we are going to have a look at the FV215B. Previously, one of my favourite heavies. Absolutely love this tank. I've loved it ever since I bought the tank. But is the tank still good? Because recently, or a few updates ago, it got a nerf along with a few other heavy tanks. It got a nerf with the reload time. I think it dropped a second reload time, and at the time a few people wasn't happy about the nerf. They didn't need the nerf. Why did it get nerfed, etc, etc. Now, in a way, I do agree with that. The DPM on this thing was one of the only things that kept this tank alive, that kept it going, and it was enjoyable to play because it had such good DPM. In fact, it was once the highest DPM heavy tank in the game. Yes, well, especially in tier 10. But obviously the WZ113 now, I think, holds that crown, and the nerf to this really has made the DPM, I mean, 2,900 DPM this tank now. It used to have, what, 3,300, something like that, and that's a big amount of DPM. When you look at the reload, I mean, you wouldn't think that a second makes that much of a difference, but stat wise, DPM wise, it has actually had it's been hurt. But that doesn't mean that the tank is not good. The tank is still a brilliant tank, and I played it for a few battles, literally only a few battles, and if I'm honest, I didn't really see the effect of that reload time. I mean, it's what the reload is 8.6 seconds. I didn't really see the effect of that reload. So for me, the nerf hasn't really changed the tank at all. Yes, obviously the DPM is a lot lower. It no longer holds the highest DPM in tier 10 heavy tanks crown. That went a while ago when the buff of the WZ113. But it's still a good tank. You know, it's still a solid tank. It's not great out in the open because the armor profile isn't the best. I mean, it isn't bad. The armor profile isn't bad at all. But where this really shines, or where it really shone, was that DPM. Like, it could out DPM anything that comes near it. And of course, because it's a British tank, it also has the hesh, which is very, very nice, and it still has that, and you can still perform with that hesh. Now, for me, the best thing about the tank was never really the DPM. Yes, having the DPM is really nice, but for me, it's the turret of the thing and the hesh. The hesh is incredible, and I always I'm a hesh lover anyway. I'm a British tank lover. I love the British tanks. I am British, and I like them. I like most of the British tanks, and this was no exception. And as I've said, it was one of my favourite heavy tanks in the game. It still has that hesh. I mean, look, nearly 600 damage with the hesh, so it can still perform really, really well. The tank now is a lot easier to ace. Back a few updates ago, when Wargaming had the Octopus X with basically it's the blue version of the camo, where if you get 5 aces and you get the camo. I'm not even sure if that's still a thing, if Wargaming have now removed it, but as you can see, very easy to ace. Now, back when Wargaming added the camouflage, you needed around 1600, sometimes even more, to ace the tank, because everyone was playing it. All the pro players was playing it to try and get that unique camouflage. But nowadays, not too difficult to ace, as you've just seen there. That was literally, I had a couple of battles, I think like 3 battles in the tank. I was going to use all 3, but in fact I'm going to use the other 2 battles I had in a World of Dummies. So I went and played it again, and I got that battle. So next up, we're going to watch a different kind of replay. And as I said, the turret, the gun depression is still there, and it's still brilliant. If you can get yourself in a hold down position, then you'll be laughing, because the turret on this thing is so strong. Doesn't have the hull is not that strong. I mean, you can still bounce if you're angled, you can still bounce on the hull, but you can't really rely on the bounces. You can't rely on the armor on that thing. You can only rely when you're hull down, because the turret is so strong. Nice, beautiful ammo rack there. So we are going to watch this game by Joe, and yes, he gets a lot of damage, but obviously that ammo rack on the E100 helped. Within 30 seconds of the game, one of the biggest guns on the enemy team has that was a violation there. To take out of an E100 like that so early on, absolute violation. But that's a brilliant start to the red team. That's one big tank down. Not quite sure what this VK is doing, and of course they're going to want to focus the VK, and they're going to want to focus this Death Star because there's another two big tanks, and they are not in the best of positions. And because of that E100, they are able to push these guys, and you can see him trying to focus this Death Star now because he does have the bigger gun. My gun's bigger than yours, says the Death Star to the VK. But he's now gone, and they can focus on this VK. So he's already farmed up 4k damage. Once he gets the next shot, he's already got 4k damage, thanks to that big ammo rack. Also, when you are face hugging, yeah, you can get bounces, but yeah, you can't rely on the bounces. The best way to play this tank is hold down. It's a quick tank as well, and what's going for it even more, it does have that speed boost as well, so it does go even quicker. So I'm not totally sure why Wargaming originally nerfed the tank, nerfed the DPM. I really don't think it needed it. It's never been an OP tank. It's been strong, of course it is a strong tank. Most tier 10s are strong, but never enough to warrant a nerf. Now, a lot of people that play the tank actually perform well in the tank. Like, it is a tank that really performs well, mainly probably because of that DPM that it has got, or that it had. So yeah, it still has decent amount of DPM. 2,900 DPM is still a good amount of DPM for any tier 10 heavy. Yes, it's no WZ113, but it does still have that that DPM. It still has an amazing turret that it's got. And of course, it has the HESH that you can use as well. It's no HESH like the Centurion, the FV4202, and the Death Star. It's not that kind of HESH, but it's still a high pen HESH that has, you can still penetrate a lot of tanks, most tanks from the rear, and even some medium tanks frontally, and of course light tanks frontally as well, and even some TDs as well. So yeah, it's still, in my eyes, it's still a fantastic tank. It needs to be played because I do adore it. Is it my favourite heavy still? Yes, it's a difficult one. Yes and no. I still love it because of the HESH and because it's British, and the camouflage, the octopus camouflage, I absolutely love. But as my all-time favorite heavy, I don't think no more. I don't think it's no more. You've got things like the E5 that's very strong. Yes, I know that got a nerf as well, but I think for now my favorite tier 10 heavy has to be this tank right there, the Kranwagen. Very, very strong in all aspects. It can perform really well even after the nerf. I mean, we're talking most heavies got a nerf, which is, if it was the only tank that got a nerf, if the FV215B, sorry, was the only heavy to get a nerf, then yeah, I suppose we can sit there and complain about it. But considering most heavies in tier 10 got the nerf, then you can't really complain too much because it still performs. It wasn't the only tank to get the nerf. The E5, the Kranwagen, they all got nerfed, so it wasn't the only tank to get nerfed. So in my opinion, it is still a fantastic tank. It's still a great tank to go and play. It's not the easiest tanks to play because yeah, it only has the turret. You got to play it hold down. You got to use the turret on this thing and use the HESH wisely when you can. I mean, don't just go out all out and just try and get these HESH shots as much as you can. If you've got the shot, then take the HESH shot because it will pump up that DPM even more. But still a brilliant tank to play. I still love the tank. Not my favourite tier 10 at the moment, but in my opinion, it is a fantastic tank that needs to be grinded. It is a good line to grind and a good fun tank to play when it goes your way. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, guys. Get in those hold down positions, use the turret, use the HESH, use the gun depression. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Meadsy. I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With